Good morning, everyone. I'm so excited. As you saw at the end of my last vlog on Wednesday, I had got in the part of the surprise that I had ordered for Stephanie, the thing that we worked on together. Far Too Many Ians on the, having it printed on the journal, I thought was, I just love it because it really looks like a little book. So I thought that would be cute. I also included, it's funny because I've always loved Stoke and blue and white pottery, so I ordered some more cards in this design I've made before, which I thought would be perfect for Stephanie. And it's just funny because obviously I made this before I even discovered Stephanie's log, but it shows my also love of animals. And this is the willow pattern, which is one of my favorites. And I had done a series of animals in bowls, and this is a hedgehog in a blue willow bowl. So I thought that would be the perfect card to send. And then this is what I'm really excited about. I'm not sure how the shipping is going to work, but when the giant tube came out, I was like, oh, I'm so excited. So I'm not sure what I don't want to ruin it. I'm sitting outside, but I thought the light would be better. But this, now after I ordered, I kind of feel like maybe I should have ordered a smaller print because it's pretty presumptuous of me to send such a large print, but I didn't realize it was going to be this large, but let's see how it looks. I think the colors really turned out lovely, so I'm not sure if you can see it or not, but there we go. The print of Far Too Many Ians. And it's a nice heavy stock paper. It's from Society 6, where I have a lot of my things printed, and I sell quite a bit through there, so there you go. I hope Stephanie and Lalanders love it. And so let's get today's video. But yay, Far Too Many Ians. Today's Gelliplate inspiration comes from some of my own prints. Now these prints were made with much more materials. This one here was made with a special type of metallic tape that's put on a piece of perspex, and a special type of ink is used, and it has to go through a printing press. And then my other print, and this one here, was made using multiple screens and hand cut out chairs and things like that. But this is just some of my older prints that I'm using as a chance to give inspiration to what we're going to do today. And today's jelly printing is going to be doing a sort of almost abstract or very simple landscape or seascape. So let's get started. All right, so for today's print, we are going to be doing a play on a landscape, and I thought as I shared the images of some of my printmaking I had just shown you, those things were made when I used to do more printmaking as my main art focus. Of course I had a printing press and I had silk screens and those type of things. I would use a special metallic tape on perspex, and that could go through the print. So I can't do any of that easily now, and I wanted to show a fun way that we could do a landscape as detailed or as rough as you'd like to using the Gelliplate. So oops, forgot to take this off. If you do get a Gelliplate, always remember to keep the plastic on, and always give it a good coat of, I just use inexpensive baby oil afterwards just to keep the rubber of it nice and moist. What I thought we could do today is, I had such fun using our last Gelliplate as the background wallpaper for my Dogs and Chairs series, with the latest one I did with the French Bulldogs. So I thought this one would be fun to do. I'll probably also scan it and use it, and then we'll digitally draw in some animals, and I think I might do a collection of dogs. But for today, I thought it would be fun to show how you can use some other techniques with the Gelliplate to do a printmaking. And what I thought I would do is we are going to use, if you have some old cardboard or old cardstock, any paper that has like a good, even probably an index card, anything that has a nice some give to it. And then I'm going to cut out, in this case I'm going to do, one of my favorite views here at Bunny Hall on our beach is when I sit down and look at one of our large boulders, and in the background you can see our neighbors across the harbor, their house. As I'm cutting out the images, I'm going to put on the screen, if I can do it, we'll see, the view I'm talking about, and maybe I'll put some music down too, because I'm probably going to speed this up because it is not going to be entertaining to watch me do it quickly. But I'm just going to be basically cutting out a rough outline of our neighbor's house. Almost abstract, like just enough for you to see that it is a house. So let's get started. So as we've cut this out, and I just used an X-Acto knife and scissors, with that same X-Acto knife, now we can take things like painter's tape, and we could see that we want it to be roughly the skyline with trees about there. So we take that off, and by placing this just on a surface you don't mind cutting, we can use our X-Acto knife, or you could do it with scissors as well, and just sort of cut a random pattern that could suggest a tree line. This is very much up to you. And then if we have our jelly plate here, so we could put our house here, we could use our, so if we wanted this to be, in fact I might break this in half. No, that's probably good. So we'll want to be there. Again, this is all just suggestive. So this is just going to be a suggestive tree line in the distance. And then this could be somewhere on there. I don't want to lose my roof line. Like that. And then the other piece we cut could be used along the shoreline perhaps, thusly. Or we could take another piece for the water line. What's fun about this is if you cut this, then you can also have a reflective look, because you can have one side can go this way, and then the mirror image of it can go down here, and it will almost look like it is reflecting. So now what this is doing is this is going to give us our negative space. So whatever ink we put on here, we're going to fill that in for our landscape and water, and then we're going to carefully remove these things so that when we print, everything that's down here now will give us the white of the paper. Of course, if you were doing vintage wallpaper or some kind of colored paper, whatever that is would be what would show through here. Now, as we're going to be scanning this and using it for a digital painting, I figured leaving this white will be good, because we could put anything we like in there once we do it digitally, and then I can do my digital drawings of possibly dogs. I think we're going to work on that next week. Okay, so now for the fun bit, we know we want sky. So for sky, I'm going to make this really simple. I'm just going to squidge on a little bit of blue, a tiny bit of white, and then for the lawn area, let's do a bit of green and see what we get. And let's do a bit of lighter green as well. And for the sea, let's use this pretty turquoise color. And maybe I'll even put a bit of darker blue in there just for a contrast. So we take our roller, and then the fun bit here is as soon as we start doing this, look at how pretty we'll have for sky. Look at how lovely that is. And the little bit of green I'm getting, that could just suggest the tree line along the top. And I'm just simply pulling that through, make sure I get the windows and the eaves of the house. There could be trees in the distance. Now, this is the fun bit. And I love the way the texture is almost like waves there. So now the fun bit is we get to take off this to make the negative space. Because this is painter's tape, it should be much crisper, but maybe don't put it on the paper first. But it's still a pretty crisp line, so we take that off. Then we can take this off, which is also luckily going to help us remove this. Take this off and just be careful. This was just cut out of cardstock. You could use cardstock or index card or old cardboard. Now see, that went in there a little bit, but that's fine, because this is just an abstracted idea of a landscape with a house. But I just want to make this simple and easy. So let's grab our cardstock. Let's put that down and then try to carefully get that first impression in so you don't smear it. And once it's in there, so we're going to be pressing that down like that. So let's see what we have. So now, because of that negative space, we have an abstract landscape that I think looks lovely. It's kind of hard to see in this light, but can you see that? And now we also can do a ghost print. Even like that doesn't look lovely. So we place this down. Again, pressing in our impression as much as we can. Using your roller or your hands or a rolling pin, a friend's arm, some books, just so you can press it nice and tight. Okay, so now let's see what we've come up with here. With our ghost print. Sometimes the ghost print is actually quite lovely. fact, I used the ghost print for the last drawing we did. So see, you can see this is much more subtle. It's not picking it up. I think the white balance isn't correct. Let me see if I can bring this over here. In fact, why don't I move the camera and just get a better shot where it's not directly in the sunlight. So here you can see, of course, because I did it the mirrored version of how I see it, I should have made it in reverse if I wanted to try to copy our actual view, with the house being on this side. But this was just to show the impression. And then the ghost print. And now see the little detail? And see here, even just cutting out that little sliver of a roofline is just enough to suggest the outline of a house. And again, this is an abstraction, but it's a fun way to do a landscape. We're going to scan this next week, and then I'm going to probably play with patterns in this white space, and then I'll probably use it as a background to maybe put a dog or some fun animal in it here. So that's today's fun Gelliplate, a fun way to do a landscape or seascape with negative space. Now for the rest of today's video, let's head on down and I'll share this morning's beach walk, and we'll close for the day. Good morning on this cooler gray day. I thought we should go have a quick look at the beach because I want you to see how drastically different when the tide is high. And this is just about high tide. And of course when it depends on the phase of the moon. As the moon gets fuller, the tides become higher and more severe. And as it becomes higher here, a quick look at our nemesis bittersweet, but still you can't help but love it in that golden state. But see how high. See, there's the chair we were sitting. Look down. Sand and shells. And if you recall, down there is where we sat last time. You can see the railroad tracks are farther underwater, and the big rock I sat on is more underwater. And you can see here all the salte, all this gathered up bits of drying seaweed and grass here. This shows that the highest tide this past cycle was that high. So that means today we should start to get the flats. When the tide is really high, it's also then really low. And then this bay happens maybe 4 times a year. It empties almost completely out right here in this bay, and all the sand is exposed, and it's such a fun place to explore because all the shellfish are exposed, and the little fish have to scurry and try to find little rivulets or little salt ponds to slip into, or some of them just have to burrow into the sand. If they haven't made it when the tide leaves the bay, then they're pretty much stuck. So, but I just wanted to show this because I was just out doing the chickens, and I could hear the waves lapping outside the boathouse because I keep my chickens over by the boathouse building. And I thought, oh, I have to grab the camera and go share with all my chat chums what it's like of a morning, of a gray morning. And you can just watch the waves just softly lapping. And this is this level of waves, because believe me, we have, if the wind is right, and we often get wind as the season heads into winter, we can get 6-foot waves out here. But this sort of lapping at the shore is really, really magical to fall to sleep to. I'll just let you hear that just for a moment. Isn't that the most joyful noise? The sound of water lapping on the rocks. And as you also recall, how much of the switchgrass was exposed before and now it's underwater. And in the beginning of the season, when the grass is not that tall, the tide covers it completely, because the tide will be higher than this. And that's when it's so magical to snorkel. I love snorkeling here. You feel like you're flying across the top of a field, because you just skim across the top of the switchgrass under the the salt water, and the fish just flit in and out like birds over a field. It's pretty magical. Of course, I have a romantic notion of everything, so maybe to some it would just be annoying to be swimming through the grass. But I really, really love it. And I've seen small flounders out here. One year there was one little pufferfish, which I didn't even realize pufferfish were possible in our climate. And they're very, very inquisitive, and I swear he followed me around. Thank you for joining me today on An Artist's Life. Hope you enjoyed playing with the Gelliplate and having a beach talk and walk with me. And I will be seeing you on Monday on the vlog. But of course, I will see you, all my chat chums, on Chateau de Lalande's chat, on Doing It Ourselves. I'm not sure if the Pethricks are doing another one. I'm not sure when Tomas is doing his next, but I usually hop on there as well. So if I don't see you in chats, then I shall see you on Monday on our next vlog. Thank you so much for joining me. Remember, stay creative. Cheers.